Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the MLB DFS slate breakdown for Tuesday, September 23rd. We're back. We got a nice slate on our hands, and it is the last week of the regular season for MLB. It's going to be an exciting week. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann, here to break it down for you. And before we get into it, come join us at LineStar. It is only $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, the props, the DFS. You get it all for one low price. We also have a free trial, 7 days free. If you've never tried us out before, come try us out for free and get in the game. You know, it's the best app in DFS land by far. Now, let's get into the slate a little bit. What we're going to do today is we're going to start off with the pitchers to consider, the high owned, some pivots to make, or possible pivots to make. You make the call. Then we're going to get over to stacks and do the same. Getting over to DraftKings, our high-owned pitchers today. We got Cole Reagans, 8,800. I do think his ownership comes down significantly today, and the reason being is he only went 62 pitches last time out versus Seattle, and he was on a pitch limit. He only went like 57 in his last start in AAA. This was his first start back, so he is now on his second start. You know, maybe he gets to low 70 pitches, the high, probably high 70 in pitches, but I don't think there's going to be a huge leash for him in this spot. He is a very good pitcher, and there's a very, very high ceiling in the matchup, but we're limited on his pitch count. At 8,800, I find it hard to really want to have too much Cole Reagans in this spot. I don't mind a little bit, but he's going a little overowned for me with the ownership here. So that's my big worry there. All in all, though, I am interested in some Reagan. Next, we got Kevin Gausman, 19% owned. We got 9.3K. He is 18-point projection. And we have a 3.5 star alert score. Boston striking out 21.3% versus righties, 319 WOBA. Gausman's been bottom 20% in barrel balls allowed. So he has allowed a lot of barrel balls, 7 over the last 2 weeks, and a lot of fly balls, but he has been dominant. 2.36 FIP over the last 5 with a 26% K rate. Over the last 20, solid 3.6 FIP and 24% K rate. All in all, it's an okay matchup. Boston has been hitting righties pretty well. 281 average, 336 ISO, but a WOBA, but a low 134 ISO and 19% K rate. Gausman is one of the better pitchers on this slate. Pitching is a bit rough. I'm fine going to Gausman at high ownership here. He's one of the guys that I will probably have a decent amount of. Next, we got Logan Webb, 9.8K. Clearly the best pitcher in the best spot today. 3.03 FIP over his last 20, 24% K rate. The last 5 start numbers, all very similar. The one thing is his whip is elevated over the last 5 starts, but all looks good outside of that. And the StatCast data is solid, but he has allowed a lot of barrel balls. I'm not too worried about it. We got one of the elite pitchers in the game in a very good spot versus righties. The Cardinals are having some trouble lately. So I think this is a great spot. While the BVP data does favor the Cards, all in all, I'm in on Webb. He's probably my favorite pitcher of the day. I'm going to have a decent amount of him. There's consistency, there's ceiling, there's solid floor, kind of checks all the boxes in this matchup. Bryce Miller is expected to pitch. It is his turn in the rotation. Seattle has yet to officially say it's his spot, but versus Colorado, I absolutely love the spot. With at 7K, I would be getting a ton of him on both sites. I think he's too cheap. He's been better at home. He strikes out like 9, just shy of 9 per 9 at home. On the road, that K rate goes way down. I think Miller's in an interesting spot here. The one issue is he's way better versus lefties than righties, and most likely the Rockies are throwing out a lot of righties here. Now, let's get into more pivots, and I'm going to go way down the board. David Peterson. We only have him at 3% owned, 13-point projection, but he's been good all season long, and the Mets really need him to play right now. Wind is blowing in at Wrigley, which should help keep the ball in the park a little bit. Cubs not striking out a ton, but 3.45 FIP over his last 20 is solid. The K rate just isn't very high. He is allowing 33% hard contact, but the ball is staying on the ground for the most part. All in all, I am fine going here. The Cubs have been okay, but not the offense they were at the very beginning of the year. I think it's an interesting little pivot. He has 2 30-plus point games, but his ceiling output here is my only concern. The chances of that mid-20s isn't super high. And at 7,800, you really need that mid-20s. Next, we got Cade Horton, 8,500. Dude's been dealing 3.34 FIP over his last 20, 2.38 over his last 5, a 24% K rate. StatCast data is a bit scary here. 40% fly balls, not many ground balls. 31% hard contact, but we have winds coming in hard at Wrigley today. Should help keep the ball in the park. And matchup data, it's okay. The Mets are obviously one of the better offenses in the league. I'm interested going Horton when nobody is. The ceiling's there. The wind is there. It's a very low-scoring game. I think Horton's a nice spot. Next, we got Lucas Giolito, 8,300. Look, 4.08 FIP over his last 20, 3.33 over the last 5. We know what Giolito is. He's a boom-bust pitcher, and with the ceiling outcome and nobody going there, it's a situation that I can't fade regardless of what the data looks like. He just has too much of a ceiling not to consider. Toronto has been hitting decently versus righties, but I'm fine going here. I love, the high 20s, 30-point ceiling on Giolito when he gets it going. The downside is he has a real low floor if it's not coming. He has pitched well versus Toronto, though, this year, and hopefully more to come today. Over on FanDuel, our high own, we got Webb. Angels pitcher Sam is going here. It is going to be his first start of the season. He has pitched okay in the minors when he's been in the majors. This year, he's had a rough go, though. I don't love the spot for him, but, I personally will not have much of him on FanDuel. Cole Reagans, again, I won't have much. But Gausman, Bryce Miller, both I will probably have a decent amount of. Also, I would sprinkle in some Giolito and maybe even some Paft, just because he is so much better at home. 64% more fantasy points at home, and he has had some real solid games versus the Dodgers in the past. It's a very tough matchup here, but Diamondbacks need some wins here to get into the playoffs. And doing it against the Dodgers would help not only my Padres, but also themselves in there. Now, let's get over to some stack attacks before we can round this out and get over to our prop show. The prop show will be at 11:15 a.m. Pacific time. So please show up to that. Also, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff to help our channel out a little bit. It helps us a ton. We got a small team here, and every little bit helps. All right, Houston, 75% owned versus Jeffrey Springs. 10.5 game total here. Also 90-degree temps, by far the best hitting weather on the slate. I'm fine going to Houston versus Jeffrey Springs. I do think Jeffrey Springs is a little interesting to use as a leverage pitcher, also like the A's versus Houston. Both spots I'm going to get to plenty of. Our projected, we got Yankees versus Shane Smith. I think this is a very, very interesting spot. Shane Smith has been a bit hit or miss. The bullpen doesn't really scare me behind him. And splits are favoring the Yankees, which is nice. Not totally sure who Seattle is going to face today, but that bullpen is absolutely awful, and that offense has been hitting well, so it makes some sense going that way. Our high value, we got Texas versus Zebby Matthews. Zebby Matthews gives up hard contact, gives up fly balls. Makes some interest to want to go to Texas. Our high ceiling plays, we got Seattle all over that. No surprise there. They hit home runs left and right, and Colorado bullpen is awful. High leverage action. We got a good offense in Boston versus Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman can have some blow up games, so it makes some sense. And then we also have Cubs versus David Peterson. I don't love this spot. Peterson's been good on the season, eliminating runs, and we got wind blowing in Wrigley. We also have Milwaukee versus Randy Vasquez and the Padres. Padres might be in for a tough game today. I don't know if you guys saw any of the footage, but the Padres were partying pretty hard after the game yesterday because they clinched the playoff berth. Congrats to my Padres, but I have a hard time wanting to play too much of them today, and I don't mind getting to some Milwaukee, one of the better offenses in the league. Let's click our team totals before we can round this out here. We got the A's and the Yankees at 5.3 with Houston at 5.2. Do not sleep on the Braves at 5.1 versus Brad Lord. Braves have been hot, and Brad Lord has not. 4.56 FIP over his last 5. A lot of hard contact. Bullpen behind him is terrible. I think there's a very good reason to go there. Also, do not sleep on on KC. Not too sure about the Angels pitcher today, and then the bullpen behind him is bad. Dodgers at 4.9 are also super, super interesting. Brandon Path is just a boom bust pitcher, and the bullpen behind him is not great. That goes also for Toronto. Seattle, 4.8. Not sure who the starter is yet, but the bullpen is terrible, so you got to consider them. I think the Giants do make some sense versus Palante, as he hasn't been great down the stretch. And they're still a little bit in, the wild card mix here. If they can really get on a run here, they got a chance. Texas, Milwaukee, both are interesting. And then if we come way down the list here, I don't mind some Minnesota. However, Patrick Corbin has been decent this year, and 3.5 FIP over this last 5 has some solid numbers. White Sox versus Lou Gill. White Sox have some power. It's in hitter-friendly Yankee Stadium. Don't mind getting there as well. That's going to do it for us today, guys. You all have a good one. We will be back shortly with the prop show. Please come join us over there. We did go 5-for-5 on Friday with our prop picks and hit the home run call. A good old perfect show was pitched. So let's have another one. We've been on a little bit of a roll lately after a rough week and a half or 2 weeks. It's turned around very nicely. You all have a good one. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Peace.